Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the Final Fantasy XII Randomizer. In today's session I would like to finish the Dracula laboratory, but before we reach the laboratory we need to make it to Arcades. We're currently halfway there, we are at the Phon coast, that's pretty much the halfway point, but there are still some areas we need to go through, which means we should make some haste, because I really want to finish that today. That would be the next big story location, story part that we need to finish at Dracula. But yeah, Phon Coast is a giant, and I repeat, giant area. Also, I turned off Ash's Gambit because while I waited, I didn't want for her to waste all her MP. But yeah, Phon Coast is a giant area, and there's a lot of like big zones here. The bad part about Phon Coast is, in my opinion, and I already talked about that in this playthrough, Phon Coast actually does not have too much going for itself. Sadly not, and I need this. Sadly not. There is no hunt here, there are only a couple of rare games, and otherwise there's nothing really spectacular here. And the most important area in this is the Hunter's Camp, which we will go to, which is actually our next location. But other than that, there's not much to this area. It is sad, yeah, but it also makes kind of sense, because in this area there are the hunters. There's a hunter camp here, with like it's basically like a separate clan or so, and because they are here, it makes sense that there are no hunts here, for example, because those guys would already have taken care of that. I think that's actually a nice detail, if that's the idea behind this, and not having hunts here. I'm not so sure about that, but it sounds plausible. At least it's a nice headcanon. But yeah, still, I would have liked a hunt here. Look at all this space here, for example. And there are multiple such areas here. A lot of the areas here also have really nothing spectacular. there are a lot of interesting landmarks here and there, some ruins and stuff. But really, there's not much point to it. Like, I keep repeating that, but it's so sad. It's so sad. The music is also good. Very energetic, very like heroic and stuff. Makes it kind of sad. I'm not even sure if there's something important here treasure-wise. I wouldn't say so. I think treasure-wise, there's also not much to this area. That's basically the only area in the entire game which I could remotely describe as filler area, and even then, the entire coastline thing here is kind of unique. So at least the aesthetic is pleasing. But yeah, other than that, not much to it. There's also an elemental here. There is the is it? Yeah, it must be the wind elemental. There's the wind elemental here. That's certainly an interesting enemy, I think. We got a Francisca. That's a high level X. That's nice. Yeah, there's the wind elemental here, the small one. The big one, the Sylphie, is an Osmond Plane. At least that's something unique to this place here. And yeah, that's basically everything there is to say about the Phon Coast. Another thing which I already mentioned in, I think it was back in Hen Mines, this area here has like one small thing that makes it kind of unique, because this area was featured in the demo for the game. I already talked about that. Like they released a demo disc for this back on the PlayStation 2. It came with one of like Square's other titles. Let's just say, I don't know, Dragon Quest, like Dragon Quest 11 or so. No, that's the newest one, right? Dragon Quest 10, 9, whatever. Let's say a Dragon Quest game released for PS2, and they gave you a bonus disc which contained a demo for this game here. And in that demo, the Phon Coast was actually one of the areas you could like play through. It was supposed to be like, or it probably was supposed to show the exploration and like major battle aspects of the game. And at the end of that like demo, you had to defeat that one dinosaur we already fought in Hen Mines. What was he called? Tyrannosaurus. The Tyrannosaurus was basically the boss of that demo. It's a nice little fun fact, but that's something which makes Phone Coast at least a little bit more unique in that regard. Not so much in the full game, but at least outside of it, it has like some relevance. Also in general, I'm not sure, but I think when you look at like beta and like early screenshots of this game, this area also appears a lot, so this might be one of the first areas like they designed for this game. Maybe that would also explain why there's so few content here, because they haven't really figured out what they wanted to put in the levels yet. Could be. But that's just pure speculation. I'm not even sure about that or not. I cannot confirm or not. Other than that, yeah, enemies themselves are also pretty mediocre. We got some flying enemies, we got a new kind of wolf. Some of those Mandragora things here. It's just the plain old Mandragora. Those guys, by the way, are also kind of a Final Fantasy mascot. Like, those guys became kind of popular. I think that those guys also originally appear in Final Fantasy XI, if I'm not mistaken. Like, those guys are originally from Final Fantasy XI, with the same appearance and stuff. Might be another hint for this area being one of the first areas designed, if they like put this as a like placeholder model and then later decide, oh no, come on, let it be in the game, like it's okay. But yeah, as I said, that's just pure speculation. I cannot confirm. I don't have the undisclosed documents of Square here at my house. Like, I haven't really seen that stuff. Even though I would like to have that stuff because it's interesting. But hey, yeah, both here taking care of the enemies with Comet, which is always nice. I think it's 1 or 2 more areas and then we revive at the camp. Must be over here somewhere. But yeah, I hope I didn't disappoint you when I said the areas here are pretty big. Like, this area is also pretty nice. Look at those stones here, very cool. Those stone formations here. Nice depiction of nature. And also like that this area here is a little bit different compared to the others because it's like more shadowy because of the stone structure there. Also a nice way to distinguish the individual areas. Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, treasure's really nothing important here. I'm mostly running through this because I want to explore the map to its fullest. Other than that, not really much point to it. I think I've stressed that enough by now. But look at that, with the wide open sea. Also very nice. Actually, this area reminds me a lot of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I don't know, the coastline areas are a little bit stuck in my mind. Like, a coast is generally nice. I think the reason why I like coast areas is because I'm in general a huge fan of deserts, and like, the coast is basically a desert, if you so want. Like, there's also sand at all places here. Like, everything is full of sand. Of course, there's also the ocean. But yeah, the entire thing is like, the coast basically is kind of a desert, a small desert in a sense, if you think about it. Because sand. You know, a sandbox is a desert, if you think about it. Just a little small one, but a sandbox is a desert. Good, yeah, I think one of those 2 passages here. Also a lot of passive enemies here. Did I already mention that? Iguyon. That's the boss from Final Fantasy VIII, right? Guy didn't even do something to me, but here, let's kill him. You get behemoth steak from those guys. Generally, behemoth steaks would be nice because you can get pretty. You can like craft X potions from those with Bazaar goods, and that's pretty nice because X potions are actually pretty good. Not the best, and especially not like the best in all of Final Fantasy. The X potions here, they got nerfed compared to other Final Fantasy games because X potions only recover, I think, 2000 HP at base plus all the lores you have. Unlike other Final Fantasy games where the X potion recovers all HP, but that's generally also usually very strong. So I think it's actually better to not have it like recover all HP. High potion, that's not quite the X potion I wanted. Come on, where's the camp? Getting to the camp would also be nice because that way I would also be able to get the map. And the map is nice. Look at this, another area here. The Pora sense. Also those guys appear here again, the Bagolis. We've already seen those guys in the Namyenzo Sensi. But they appear here as well. Always found that interesting. Like, it's one of the few times they actually like straight up recycle an enemy from another area. Like in most areas this would be like another kind of those birds, and not just like the same guy from a different location. I think that's also partly because of the lore surrounding those enemies. That's something I think I already touched upon, but I think the lore with those guys is that they are like they were trained as like for war or so. They actually trained for like warfare, and with the advance of airships or so, they got like they put them into the wild because they no longer needed them. They got better weapons. They don't have to rely on those birds anymore for like war. I think that's the idea here. I think it would make sense because like this is here, those are basically the Arcadian Bagolis, and the other ones in Namyenza are the ones from Rosaria. I think that's the idea here. Also, Pyrolisk gives me Melboro Vine, interesting. But yeah, look at this, nice landscape here, and also those runes here. Ivalice has a lot of runes if you think about it. The next area, Tchita Uplands, also has a bunch of runes and shrines and abandoned shrines. Like we've already seen like other stuff in similar areas. Pretty nice. What's the lore behind those runes? That's a good question. Maybe if you reach the bestiary entry for the Phon Coast, then you find out, but I actually don't know right now. Oh, we got the back to the Chocobo farm, guys. We are at the hunter's camp now. And we get a cutscene. Let's see. Nice camera.
Race it to the water.
Oh yeah, let's go to the water. Unlike Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they don't eat beachwear, so they've got lucky, I guess. Yeah, we are at the hunter's camp. There's actually some stuff you can do here. That's the interesting part of the area. They even have like their own notice board, which is nice. Yeah, we still have the same guys here. If I had teleport stones, I would go back to Nalbina, but I don't. I don't have teleport stones. And I still am not sure if I will ever get those, so tough luck. But yeah, first of all, that's Gertie actually. I did actually not recall that there was a Chocobo rental here, but nice. Where is the guy with the maps? There's like a cartographer skilled guy. I think he's up here. Kind of, yeah, here. Yeah, cartographer skilled, yeah. Phon Coast, yes. Good, map. You could also ask this guy for like further directions. Ah, yeah, look at this. All those big areas here. and not much to it. Like they could have done something with, like some kind of hunt that like a fish or so that comes out of the water or so. Like as some kind of special encounter or so. I think that would have been nice. The Vadu strand is interesting because of all the chests. I think Hakavea Shore is the home of the rare game. And yeah, and so forth and so on. A nice area. Let's go visit the shop. Let's see what we can buy here. There should be new items available now, new equipment pieces. Oh yeah. Diamond sword looks kind of normal, yeah. Halberd on hit reverse. Aldebaran. That's new. But it's actually weaker than our current gun. Okay, interesting. It has element thunder though, which is interesting. Oh, we just got a Francisca, that's nice. Empyrean Rod, nothing to write home about. This could be interesting, and otherwise the normal stuff. Kind of disappointing here with the weapons. Pretty normal. Not sure if I should get an Aldebaran. Element Thunder. I'm still not sure if the Thunder element actually works or not. Because, like I already said, I think it's the ammunition that determines everything with the handguns. Come on, I'm gonna get one because the gun looks cool. It's like this dragon gun. The Goku pool, interesting. Disabled stop is interesting, yeah. Okay, armor. Half damage earth, weak against wind. Sounds kind of legit. Nothing. We've already got the Carmagnole. We got those so early. Wow, interesting. Mirror Mail, immune sep. Okay, never mind. Steel Mask absorbs. Oh, interesting. Absorbs fire, shadow, and is immune to ice and immune to sap. So that's good. Crystal Shield also interesting, I guess. Althea could equip that. Disable, absorb, okay. Yeah, not too much stuff here actually. Nah. The items, the equipment pieces are not so great, I have to admit. Also not really an upgrade in terms of raw stats, except the Crystal Shield maybe. But everything else is worse than what we have. To be fair, we already have some more high level stuff, so that's to be expected. Yeah, I need to check that out again, maybe if I see need that I have some immunities here for Earth and Shadow or so. Okay, accessory rise, power armlet, weak against wind, reduces when HP critical, nah. Dangle, okay, otherwise also the same stuff here. Oh, we can buy Bacchuswein now. Ooh, that's good actually. Although on the other hand we already have Berserk, so Our consumables still look nice. No new techniques. Oh, we got new spells. We got Dia. I think Dia is pretty weak because it's the first tier light spell, so could be better. Still getting it. Fairaga is interesting. Only to one foe though. Why is everything only targeting one foe in this? That's so annoying. Float. Yeah, okay. Okay, Fairaga probably the best we could buy here. Otherwise, not really anything of interest here. Bacchuswein. Don't need that right now. But yeah, okay. Let's move on to something more interesting, which is this guy here. So the Shady Bunga. If we talk to this guy, we can start the. Can we? Oh, maybe not yet. Maybe. Oh, I think we cannot start this right now. Do we have to finish Dracula first or so? Yeah, I think that might be the case. Yeah, okay. Normally, you need to talk to this guy, and then you can get the Phone Coast rare games. But I cannot start that right now because I'm not far enough in the story yet. Ah, okay. That's a little bit sad because I would have liked to activate those additional rare games. Then we will do that later. Let's save and move on, I guess. No, not much else to like talk about here. We could do some licenses. Oh, we've also got Sahara. Yeah, okay. Sahara is worthless 19. Nice. Do I want to do this now? I could get float. Actually, that can wait. Come on. Let's move on. I don't really need those licenses just now. So yeah, let's progress. Let's exit up here. I think that's something you can do. Also, renting a Chocobo is kind of interesting because with the oh, never mind. With the Chocobo, you can actually make it to Tuerubu step early. That's also something some people may not know about, but you can actually enter Tuerubu step, and I think also Belfenheim early, without having to complete Dracula first. And this is of course interesting because Tuerubu step has those interesting chests where you can get like the best pieces of equipment. Of course, the chance to get those items from the chest is pretty abysmal, but you could potentially get those. That's actually also something I might want to use in this randomizer later on. Of course not now, but maybe later. But yeah, I don't think we will take the detour to Tuerubu Step. That's something that can wait. It is possible though, and I feel it's nice to mention it. And the option itself is of course also pretty cool, but not really needed right now. Not really needed for my plan here. But you could get those chests early and try to farm some stuff if you want to. Fren also deals very good damage with her magic. Critical? Wait a second, why was that a critical? Was that Ash? Did Ash deal 5,000 damage, or that must have been Fren? I saw the Scourge animation, right? What was that? Since when can magic crit? It can't, so it must have been Ash. I will keep my eyes open and try to spot it again. Come on, I'm gonna lead with Ash because I want to see the damage output. If she deals 2,000 damage or so, I can see that it... Yeah, she actually deals that much damage, right? Yeah, she deals so much. Wow, okay. Those guys must be weak against something. What does she have? Equipment? Stop. Element none. Is the gun so strong, or... Huh, interesting. Why does she deal so much? She does not deal that much damage to the Silver Lobo, right? She does. Did I never notice that Ash actually has busted damage output? Why have I never noticed that? Huh. Strange. Look at that, wow. Yeah, that's just why guns are very strong. Even if the gun only has, what was it, 40 something? 48 attack power. Even though the gun only has 48 attack power, it is still so strong. That's actually what makes guns so good. And of course the entire thing with that it deals constant damage more or less. Independent of like the character's stats and the enemy's defense. The Formalhaut should also be the second best gun in the game, right? Actually not, it's the third best gun. There's of course the Mituna and then the Final Fantasy Mituna. That's of course a thing. I always keep forgetting about the I actually do not forget about the Final Fantasy weapons, which are the strongest of their respective kind. But I keep forgetting about the weapon between that there is like also a variant without the letter at the end. Okay, quickly look up here and then it's off to Tchita Uplands. Yep, okay. Okay, we are done here. And let's move on. Precisely over here. There are some Vieras here, very interesting. Some Vieras that are also on the travels here. They don't have anything important to say, right? Nope. Can't even talk to the one up there. But yeah, nice that they are also on the move. Okay, that's Phon Coast. Let's move on to Tchita Uplands. What is this music? Interesting. Mysterious Tchita Uplands. And it's exactly what I promised you, more ruins, nice. And we immediately are greeted with Quirls, and those guys could be nasty because of Blaster. You obtain blind, okay. To be honest, Tchita Uplands, similar to Phon Coast, also not too much, Lushang's badge, nice. Also not too much to say about this area. Basically Phon Coast and Tchita Uplands are like those two areas in the game which I would say are a little bit underdeveloped. At least this area has a hunt that is interesting. That requires you to enter like a certain area under certain weather conditions. And it also has this like unofficial petitioner, which is very nice. But then again, the hunt takes more place in the cave palace, which we are also about to enter. Yeah. Yeah, also this area too has many big areas. Not as big and expensive as Phon Coast, but still pretty big. Also, I think the music that's playing right now is one of the new tracks that they added for the Zodiac Age. I cannot really tell which one it is. Ouch. It's certainly not the one that they gave for Tchita Uplands, it's a different one. It might actually be the one for Namyenza. This trick right here, I think it's mysterious enough for Namyenza. Oh, I attracted the entire crowd. Okay, a whole bunch of Arc Malboros. Block. Comet is still funny, and that other guy gave up. Look at how fast they are. What is Ambrosia? File of Ambrosia? No, that's nothing I can use. I was gonna say. The file, it threw me off a little bit. But that's a loot, not an item you can use. And 35 for both here. Wasn't there supposed to be a chest here? I could swear there was a chest here that gave you some kind of technique. But apparently not. Okay, never mind. Let's move on. It's too bad that we are not able to buy the map for Tchita Uplands from that one Moogle as well. And that's a little sad. Because as I said, this area is also pretty big. It would be nice to see where I'm going. Area's not too complicated though. There's like not really a way to get lost. You can stray a little bit from the intended path, but it's not like you run into strong enemies or so, and like different enemies or so, or suddenly end up in a different, like, totally OP area. And the only thing that can really happen is that you actually end up before the entrance to Tuerubu Steppe. And you wouldn't even be able to progress like me right now, if you don't have a Chocobo. So eventually you will find the way to the cave palace. I keep getting red pelts from the snakes, which is funny. Also bell wyvern. I'm actually not sure. I think the bell wyvern is one of those strange enemies that is not really counted in the bestiary, but actually counts as wyvern or so. Like there was something weird with that. Let's go over here. How do we have? I think that's not cloudy. The weather that can happen here is cloudy, which makes things a little darker. Also, friend, why are you heating him? Heating is not nice. Nice. The question is, can Balthia outdamage those guys? Friend, I think our disease, never mind. And Lushank's badge is of course funny, it's like the Omega badge we've already gotten. Lushank's badge is the reward for the fishing side quest. And that's usually very hard to get, because that's also something I mentioned already. The fishing side quest in this is pretty tough. Good way of wasting MP, guys. just cast both at the same time, yeah. Also turtle shell from the snakes, nice. Good stuff. Yeah, there's one thing I want to accomplish here before I move on to the Sochen Cave Palace, and that is accepting the unofficial hunt. Which is also a very great thing in my opinion, that there's like an unofficial hunt in this game. That's something I also find pretty funny. That's one of those clever like twists, I would say. Didn't Ash just get a level up? She did get one again. Enemies must give a lot of XP here. Puke. But Tail Spear still landed. Now, Holy Crystals in the base game would be would be nice. There are a couple of things you can do with those. I think the most important one is getting a Save the Queen, crafting a Save the Queen for as Bazaar good. But then again, I think there's also something more important you can do with Holy Crystals. This ease is really working in my favor right now because Friend keeps eating those guys. And I'm just utterly too lazy to switch her out. Even though I should, because my characters right now, like the leading party members right now, already have like a higher level than the other ones. You should know by now that I like to have my party evenly leveled. So it would be nice if the other ones could catch up as well. Oh no. Would you please heal? Nice, thank you. And Friend immediately takes care of both here, nice. Block, okay. Healed again. Perfect. Yeah, both here. One thing I wanted to check before recording, by the way, was the damage formula for the measures. Because I keep noticing that both here still, like basically the Euclid's sextant deals the same damage ever since we've gotten it. So I was wondering what that means. There must be like some kind of constant damage output or so. Actually, come to think of it, I think the measures work like the same as guns, where they ignore physical defense and are not dependent on the character's strength stat. That could actually be it. That would also explain why the gelatinous augment actually reduces damage from both vanish, yeah. Why the what was it called? Gelatinous augment actually decreases damage from both measures and guns. Maybe, yeah, must be because they basically work the same. Maybe there's even an internal variable that the measures and the guns share, and only because of that does Gelatinous body also affect measures. Like, that's something I could imagine. That, like, the developers, that's basically an oversight, but in the end, the that it is basically an oversight, and the developers did not really care about it, because you're not supposed to attack enemies with the measures anyways, so who knows. And Gelatinous is also only an augment for a small fraction of enemies. Namely the Flans and the Ghosts, and no one else basically has Gelatinous. I see a gator over there. I hear him stomping. The area itself is pretty nice, I must say. Like a couple of like ponds here and there. The lush greenery is nice. The ruins again are pretty nice. Exotic trees. What else can you ask for, I guess? And I also want to mention again that despite we've already been through 2 of those green areas, Giza Plains and Osman Plain, this once again feels very different. Oh, he casts Berserk. Maybe he's immune to it, who knows? Yeah, despite this being the third like green step area we are going through, this also feels different in its own right. If only for the like bigger areas this whole section he has of the game. Like the Tchita Uplands have more like open plains. Doom Maze is interesting. With a lot of hills. But also it's another shade of green compared to Giza and Osman, so that's also a great way to distinguish this place here. Also, I think I arrived at my destination. Yeah, here. So, there are multiple things you can do here. We are about to accept an unofficial hunt. And there are 2 ways to, like, basically trigger this quote-unquote side quest. In this area, either we can go to this area here, the Nameless Spring, and talk to the father, or we can go to a different area that also has a save crystal, I think even a teleport crystal, and we can alternatively also talk to like his boy, and depending on who we talk to, we accept basically the hunt from like a different client. It is the same hunt, but I also don't think it really matters. And here we go. Bill, question mark? A terrible menace plagues the Sochen Cave Palace, calling hail hunters of all ages and races to deal with this scourge upon us. Warning, this is not an official bill, and it will not be listed in the clan primer. Ask about this dire threat? Yes. Okay, I like how the game, like, is kind of parodizing itself a little bit here. Like, that's a nice little thing here, I think. We get the Soul Ward key, which is important, otherwise you cannot even enter the Sochen Cave Palace. Question mark, question mark, question mark, the hunt begins. Oh yeah. Like, that's pretty funny. I wonder if at some point they intended to have multiple of those unofficial official hunts. I think that would have been funny if you were able to find like more of those, yeah, special hunts, basically. I think that's quite the funny thing. Also, this is the area, yeah, Garden of Life Circle, this is the area where the hunt will later appear, I've been talking about. Also, I should switch out my party. You 3 take the lead. And Bash here. Huge. Too bad that Bash's magic damage output is not the greatest. I mean, 1600 is still good, but it's bound to fall off at some point. Like, Bash right now is more like the all-around damage dealer. He can cast magic, he has good weapons, but nothing of it is amazing. That's kind of disappointing. And Phon basically is only responsible for cool buffs, like Bubblegum. But other than that, like, those two really have not much going for them. The other three I had were much better. Of course, Penana also good. She also has good magic. Like, interesting to see how Bash and Phon's will develop. At least Bash can eventually equip the Simha and like the good strong weapons, like one-hand swords, because he got the license for that. It's just the question whether or not he makes use of that later on, depending on what the other characters get and will have. I mean, a nice thing that Bash has is his accessory weapon combo. That's certainly something very nice. Oh, I exactly knew that there was a trap here around this bridge here, but I at the same time forgot about it. The Lost Way. You know what? Hey, don't do that again, thank you. Okay, the Lost Way, that's actually a fitting name. The Lost Way is the one that leads to Tuerubu Steps, so it's basically the game's way of telling you you are not supposed to go this way, basically. Like you are on the Lost Way story-wise. Better search for a different route. But still I like going here, just for exploring every area. Oh, 3 snakes? Okay, only 2 engaging. Nice one. I wonder if I can sell the red pelts for some money. And they are fighting the snake, yeah. Okay, guys. The sound for shock is actually kind of nice. Tick 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 tick. It's very nice. Oh, they all deal zero damage here. Because they have the good equipment. Also was Phon healing him? This guy? Pew. Magic damage is basically the strongest enemies can currently do to me. If they don't have magic, they are kind of screwed, but if they have, they are a little bit dangerous. Not much, but a little bit. And we keep getting holy crystals. Anything of importance here? Stone bolts, I think we've already got a bunch of those. Nope. I like how those snakes are approaching out of nowhere. That's also a nice touch. I'm convinced that there are certain trigger points for them to appear. But it's random enough to feel kind of like spontaneous. And not hard-coded. Okay, you want this guy, you can get him. Now, of course, in Phon Coast and Tchita Uplands were also a bunch of rare game monsters. But I'm actually not sure about the conditions right now, and I think some of them also only appear when you have activated the Phone Coast rare game monsters. Yeah, I'm absolutely on the Lost Ray, by the way. Yeah, over there's another Bell Wyvern. And goodbye, Van. Well done. Yeah, sure. Let's go with Ash. Now, come on, Ash. Don't cast magic. Kill this guy first. Also, I keep forgetting that Bash actually has Libra on him. That is pretty nice. This here is probably also the location for a chest, but it did not spawn, so now cool item for me. Oh, those guys have instant death, I see. And Corels apparently drop and can be poached into Lusheng batches. Also interesting. Okay, we are at the, what is it called? Uazukuf Hill, okay. I can switch Pinello and Van back in. Also, those guys are weak against ice, interesting. Nice. And Ash is dealing good damage with ice, that's something I like. So we got Blizzaga and Firaga. I wonder if we also get Thundaga to make the trio complete. Would be nice, but not sure. Also, one thing I'm thinking about right now, I suddenly had in my mind, we did not get that much like arcane magic so far, right? Like dark magic. Let me quickly check that. Okay, we got Dark, Darkra, Death, and Deathka. Pretty unspectacular. I hope that this is something better. Death and Deathka I would have preferred to not get. But hey. Oh, yeah, Pinel's also completely dead, I forgot. But Van can revive her. Never mind, Van does not have MP. Then I guess it's time to throw a Phoenix down. Pinello is also still oiled, which is annoying. These statuses are annoying that persists even after death. The strongest one, of course, being diseased. Because if you are dead and diseased, you're basically stuck at 1 HP. Not basically, you are stuck at 1 HP, and that's pretty dangerous. Oh, the Corels are coming. Speaking of disease, Pinel is giving everyone disease. Again, we are responsible for the Ivali's pandemic of... when does this game play? Like 938 Valentian calendar or so. I think that's it. I'm actually not sure about the calendar in this calendar. But there's a calendar of Ivali's. Like I think they kind of mentioned that in the intro. It's like in one of the corners. I think the lower right one. But yeah, right here, this is actually blocked off. But if we had a Chocobo, we could actually go up there and reach Surawi Step. We cannot do that right now, though. So yeah. I think I explained why I do not want to go there. There's not really much point to it. But that's another one of those things that allow you to like break the sequence a little bit, and I think it's nice. And that's something which this game also does exceedingly well. Like, it is linear in a sense, but it also always gives you enough like freedom to like explore and make nice discoveries. I think that's pretty good. Optional content is like always available if you do not want to progress like the main story path. That's pretty nice if you ask me. And it's not like that this game immediately throws everything at you. I think that would also have been bad. Especially game balance wise. It manages to be open without being open world, and that's something I always greatly enjoy. I mean, open worlds always have their own merits, but you cannot really deny that there's like more finesse in something which is more thoughtfully crafted. Like in a sense, which is like carefully like basically opened step by step. Allows for more like precise game design, if you ask me. And you cannot really say that this game is linear either, so it's the best of both worlds, if you ask me. You can have a progression here, but you can also like just do stuff if you want to. And that's pretty nice. That's how I like my Final Fantasy games. I mean, there needs to be a sense of growth in those games. I think that's very important. If there's no sense of growth, like if you had everything available, and I mean, obviously there would be some areas that are like supposed to be more late game and stuff, but it won't really feel the same. Like you get a better like impression of growth with this kind of like structure, I think. And it's not like as if like stuff gets like more or less like the growth does not take part, like the growth is like progressive and does not take part in like huge immediate chunks, I think, which I think would happen if it were completely open world. I think that's good how it is. Kira mode. Kira mode might actually be nice. I could use that at some point. Nice, 35 for Pinello. I'm still not sure about my level. My level is, I think, pretty average, if you would ask me. But I cannot really tell. I really have no sense for like level in this game anymore. Like I have more like a different feel for when I like feel strong enough or not. I also have like enough knowledge of this game that I can tell, yeah, you can do this, and yeah, you should better not do that right now. Like I'm in touch with my game knowledge here. Everyone is casting Scarf. This would be a nightmare in the PS2 versions because of effect capacities. Like, nothing would go off anymore. Everyone is just casting Scarf and it blocks every other spell. Okay, I think we almost have explored every area here, which is pretty huge. I hope that gives you an impression of how big this area just is. It's very, very big. Nice, we got all badges, hey! We also got the Godslayer's badge, which is the one you get from Yasmat. Nice. Okay, we got all the badges. They are probably worth nothing, but still nice to have them. Like, it's just funny to think about those items that are usually super hard to obtain, and you just get them, like, multiple times here without much effort. I think that's kind of funny. Where do those Melboros even get their crown from, if you think about it? Where do they get their crown from? Okay, I shouldn't really run around here much more. I'm satisfied for now. I would like to move on to the Cave Palace. I want to pay a quick visit to the Teleport Crystal though. That's something I will do. I mean, the Teleport Stone could be around every corner. Look how tiny that one is. Did you see that coil? It was super tiny. We might also have the chance. Actually, not. That's yeah. There's a rare game here, but only Phone Coast again. Like one of those Melboros can be replaced by the Phone Coast rare game. I do recall that one of those chests here had something interesting. Like some piece of equipment, I think. I recall farming something there in my last playthrough I did. But I don't even know which chest that was anymore. I think it was at one of those shrines. Also, here's the kid that I mentioned. Okay, now he does not give us the bill anymore. The father's the petitioner now. Actually, it would be better, I think, to get the bill from this guy, because he is right at the teleport crystal, and you of course you also need to return to the petitioner and get our reward. And getting to the father is a little bit more time consuming, By the way, look at Bash's MP pool. He has over 600 MP if he has full MP. That's crazy. Also, I think I recall where the Technic was that I searched for. Whoa. It's actually in the last area of this place before we enter Sochen. Okay, my party members just don't want to leave those guys alone. Then again, I'm also not making much of an effort to avoid the enemies here. Double KO with double Scarf, nice. And that also leads back to that, yeah. And again, double KO. Oh, Bash. Come on, don't heal yourself. Pretty common move of Coils that they use cure spells on themselves. Nice that they do that here as well. I always keep thinking that it's cloudy, but I think that's not cloudy weather. Because this looks so grey, but in actuality it's still very, very clear. And the item I was searching for, the Technic, is I think over there, up there. Up that hill, so I need to run around this like hill here and climb it. Oh, guys, once again not dropping LP. Too bad. Tyrantide. Tyrantide was also important for some kind of gear for the Bazaar in the base game. Like, I keep recalling all those items. Nice one, triple combo. There are a lot of enemies here, I'm noticing. Like, probably the reason behind Phon and Tchita Uplands is also that you can get some levels. That's probably also an intention here with those areas. Might be the reason why they are so big and expensive, while also having so many enemies. I mean, after all, we are still playing an RPG, so of course the developers want to give the players the opportunity to train their party. And I mean, so far it's working. I've actually gotten a bunch of level ups by this point. I wonder what's more effective, using Bash's physical attacks or using Scarf. I think Scarf equals 2 physical attacks for Bash. So maybe depending on how many times he combos, the physical attack actually might be better, who knows. Yeah, the item I was searching for is up here somewhere, near the shrine. Also, once again, what is the meaning behind those shrines here? What is their purpose? What was their purpose? And who built them? Why did they get built? Like, all those questions. 67 gil, 2 gil away from a very nice amount, but I can live with that. And that chest over here must be it. This must be a spell, I think. Shock, okay, already got that one. Okay, that means we can go straight to Sochen Cave Palace. We can already see the cave over there. Not so much the palace, but we can see the cave. This tree looks kind of nice. It's not too big, it's a nice tree. Look at this tree. Looking better than the tree from Sword and Shield, right? Ah, yes. That one tree from Pokemon Sword and Shield. You probably know that one. Top 10 trees in gaming. Definitely. To be honest, I don't find that Pokemon Sword and Shield look all that bad. I think Scarlet and Violet look pretty bad, if you ask me. But Sword and Shield actually look pretty fine. I don't like the fact that they added like that many textures to Pokemon and stuff in Scarlet and Violet. I think the texture work is a little bit off-putting. It looks so semi-realistic, which I don't like. Like the more cel-shaded anime approach Sword and Shield took. But hey, one more thing you can complain about in Scarlet and Violet, right? Anyways, here's the Cave Palace. You will now have the option to save the game. Okay,